Harrison Ford is injured on the set of Indiana Jones 5 as both trailers for Halloween Kills and Candyman are released, and Lena Dunham is set to adapt the toy franchise into a film because that's exactly what everyone asked for. I'm Joe Acierno.
And I'm Darius Delsoin. This is Cinema Unchained.
All right, folks, welcome now to episode 21 of Cinema Unchained. Now, before we get into the next project from the execrable Lena Dunham, don't forget to like, follow, share, subscribe, and hit the bell to get all notifications, whether you're on Apple Podcasts, Pandora, YouTube, and so much more. Follow our social media pages in the description, too. Now, before we get into Harrison Ford getting injured on the set of Indiana Jones 5, according to The Hollywood Reporter, actress Lily Collins will be starring in an adaptation of the toy franchise PollyPocket from writer-director Lena Dunham. Mattel and MGM, also known as the studio that gave us James Bond and The Wizard of Oz, are partnering with Dunham's company, Good Thing Going. This is not a drill, Darius. This is actually happening. I couldn't believe my eyes as I was scrolling through my IMDb feed and found this. There's no way you don't have any thoughts on this.
Oh boy, this is quite interesting, mainly because it's like when I saw PollyPocket, I was like, wait, as in the toy franchise? And after looking it up again, just to remind my thought, I'm like, okay, Lego Movie, that was absurd, but you know what? It worked. This, I don't know, man. I don't know. This is very odd. This is just an odd choice. And considering that it's under MGM and Amazon recently got MGM, it's like, okay, Amazon's first decision, PollyPocket. Now, of course, I'm not saying it's actually Amazon's. Maybe it's been in the works for a while. Who knows? But this is quite interesting, and I'm not even going to say I'm excited at all. I'm not. This is just like, it's such an odd choice to make a film out of. Because, oh boy.
Because I know we were, I remember when we were talking about what to talk about in the show today, you were kind of hesitant, and I definitely can't blame you, but I just saw this, and I'm like, wow, this is happening. And again, like, I kind of had the same thoughts as you. I'm like, PollyPocket, I haven't heard of that in forever. Was that a toy? That was a toy. And then I Googled it, and I'm like, yeah, that was a toy from like the 90s. And now it's getting a movie. And just when you think you've seen it all when it comes to, like, movies and stuff like that, and just, like, people doing the same shit over and over again, this comes out. And even though no one's made a movie about this toy before, it's still not a good idea. Not every original idea, quote original idea, is a good one. And I'm just wondering what is happening. What is happening with the movie industry?
Yeah, it's like it feels to a certain extent that they're trying to go back in time. Where we talk about sometimes the classic movies being reinvented over and over and over again, rebooted. And now it just feels like, let's go back to the 90s, maybe the kids. And it's like the people who like those are probably don't anymore, and they're much older. So it's a weird, unless they're trying to reinvent PollyPocket, but who knows? It's PollyPocket. But
why?
It's
like,
weird.
What could you possibly do? Yeah, exactly. Like, the only reinvention they could possibly do with this sort of thing is just going to be so fucking weird. And I read a little further into the article, and there are a couple quotes from the people involved. Of course, Lena Dunham, who's made a lot of controversial and just flat out dumbass comments in the past, had this to say: "I'm so thrilled to bring to bear both my love of this historic property and also my deep-seated belief that young women need smart, playful films that speak to them without condescension." Really? With a PollyPocket film? That's what you want to accomplish for young women? Okay. All right. Yep. You have all the answers, Lena. Alrighty. And then, of course, you also have Lily Collins, actress Lily Collins, who, I'm going to be honest, I do like Lily Collins, so I'm a little disappointed that she's attached to this. As a child who was obsessed with PollyPocket, this is a real dream come true, and I can't wait to bring these tiny toys to the big screen.
That just sounds wrong.
A couple of yeah, exactly. Yeah, honestly, yeah, I think I know a decent amount of actors and actresses. None of them have ever dreamed, or at least told me that they dream of playing a toy, or like being in a movie that has to do with toys or anything like that. I guess you can name a couple of good movies that did toys right. Obviously, the Toy Story franchise. Obviously, the Lego movie, which had no business being as good as it was, if I'm being brutally honest. But this, considering the person involved and just considering the overall concept, I'm almost speechless. This is, and it's just so weird because do you remember like any pent up demand for a movie like this to happen?
No, and not even Lego Movie or the idea of Lego. But you know what? That worked, and it, but like for this, it's just I don't know. I'm just like, oh boy, here we go again.
Yep. Like this is just like another this just shows how much the movie industry is really bleeding when it comes to trying to find new talent. Because like again, Lena Dunham's been around a decent amount of time. She had that show Girls that was on HBO. From what I remember, it was actually very well received. Mm-hmm. But she goes from that to this, and all I can think of myself is, wow, how the mighty have fallen. Yeah. So we have that to look forward to, and hopefully, if the show is still running by the time this movie comes out, we have a new movie to rip. So that should hopefully be fun. But yeah, folks, you gotta have some thoughts on this Polly Pocket film. If you actually care a little bit. I can't blame you if you don't, but I figured, you know what? This is so ridiculous, I couldn't not talk about this. So, if you have any thoughts, you know where to leave them, in that comment section there, wherever you can. All right, now, before we get into the trailer for Halloween Kills, according to Yahoo News and The Independent, legendary actor Harrison Ford has been injured on the set of Indiana Jones 5. He's aggravated like an old injury of his shoulder, and believe it or not, this time around it may require surgery in order to completely rectify it. And he was reportedly injured rehearsing, surprise, surprise, an action scene involving a train at Pinewood Studios in Buckinghamshire. Now, I'm going to be honest. Harrison Ford, I absolutely love him. One of the great actors. He's 78 years old. He is too old for this shit. He's just too old.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to. Indiana Jones is a classic. And this is where, I briefly touched upon classics, reboots, and that sort of thing. And I think Indiana Jones is definitely one of them, where it's like you leave it the way it is. Nobody can really replace Indy as, because Harrison Ford has embodied that role so much, and he is Indiana Jones. So it's so odd to me that even Indiana Jones 5 is even happening. Just like how the previous RoboCop happened, and that turned out to be a dumpster fire. With Indiana Jones 5, this movie shouldn't have happened, and Harrison Ford, I get that they are really committed to keeping him, and he is Indy, but at the same time, it's like he's up there in age, and he really shouldn't be doing a role like Indiana Jones anymore. Especially since Indiana Jones is pretty action heavy as well. And the fact that he already got injured during a rehearsal, not even, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
It's rough no matter how you look at it. And, this idea that they have to keep making movies with certain properties. I mean, there comes a point when you should just let the thing end. Let the thing die. The circle of life applies to movie franchises too. I mean, it had its prime at one point. Indiana Jones, an iconic action series, just an iconic. Yeah, I'm making up new words now. An iconic film franchise. But do you really want the last impression of Indiana Jones to be a weak one? Because look at what happened. And again, did you ever watch The Kingdom of the Crystal Skull?
Yep.
What did you think? Never mind. Question answered. Okay. I mean, I remember that's a movie that I remember. I was like 11 when I saw the movie, so I'm like, oh my god, another Indiana Jones movie. So of course, when it came out, I'm like, of the theater, I'm like, oh my god, I just watched another Indiana Jones movie. It was amazing. It was perfect in every single way. I loved it. But then, as the years go by, and I really start to think about this movie, I rewatch certain clips every now and then. I'm like, this wasn't very good. This really wasn't good. Like how I felt about The Last Jedi when I came out of that movie really liking it, but then I thought about it in days after that, and I'm like, that movie wasn't very good at all. That's basically the same thing that happened with the fourth Indiana Jones movie, but it just took me years instead of days to get to that conclusion.
Yeah, I mean, I think like Lucasfilm, they definitely have a lot going. They're really trying to produce more stuff and going back to Indiana Jones, some new ones, but at the same time, it's just like if you know Harrison Ford is indie, but you know he is also of a certain age that he can't really perform the way he used to, then it's like, just let Indiana Jones go. Don't do any more movies. Don't even try to reboot with get a new actor. Just let it be. It's fine to let these exactly. It's fine to let these franchises be and let them stay the way they were and how people remember them, because it's like the second you do a 5 or another one that's years later, there's going to be a certain expectation and standard that people are expecting. And if you don't really meet that, that's going to be, it's not going to have a good look. And if you keep pushing more of that stuff out, Indiana Jones 6, 7, whatever it may be, it might be a Star Wars situation all over again. Just saying.
Or you might get all the way to Fast and Furious 9, which, I mean, we all know how that turned out. So, it's really sad. I mean, the only thing I will say is that as Ford recovers from his injury, director James Mangold, he's going to keep directing scenes, but the crew has been warned of a possible 4 to 5 week break. So it's a situation, to say the least. But again, James Mangold at the helm instead of Steven Spielberg. Like, obviously Mangold is no Spielberg, but Mangold is still a pretty competent director himself. He did Logan, he did Ford v Ferrari. So this is no schlepp himself, or schmuck himself. Again, me and my words. But like, we'll see what happens as far as this. Hope he recovers quickly.
Yeah.
And again, just thoughts on this development with Harrison Ford. Do you think that Harrison Ford is too old for this sort of film? Leave your thoughts in the comment section there below. And now, before we get into the trailer for Halloween Kills, don't forget to like, follow, share, subscribe, and hit the bell to get all notifications, whether you're on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Podchaser, and more. And follow our social media pages that are listed in the description. All right, now, we finally got a trailer for Halloween Kills. And for those of you who don't know the background for this film, it's basically just a continuation of the Halloween franchise. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much all we seem to know about this movie so far. And this is a direct sequel to, of course, 2018's Halloween. And even though I wasn't too crazy about that particular film, like, again, that's another one. Like, I liked it coming out, but then I thought about it, I'm like, this really wasn't really that good. It wasn't really that bad, but it was kind of meh. I wasn't too crazy about it, but I did like how the film ended off. And then, like, that sort of, like, cliffhanger. And again, this movie is 3 years old. It's not a spoiler at this point, really. But, like, how the film basically ends off is that there's, like, this big, action sequence, big fight, and, like, whatever house. It's, like, doomsday situation house. And they set the house on fire. They leave Michael Myers trapped in the house. And as they're being driven away, they see the fire trucks, like, going in the direction of the house that's on fire. They're like, no, let him burn. I'm like, oh, man. But,
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, what do you think? What do you think of this so far?
Honestly, I never saw the 2018 Halloween because I just didn't want to watch it because I liked the original. So I was just like, to me, it was like, I'm not doing this again to myself with RoboCop. No, not watching it. And so I never really watched 2018. This one, it intrigues me. I may go watch the 2018 one now, mainly just so I can see what's going on. But at the same time, it's just like another Halloween trilogy when it's like we've had so many. The original is Michael Myers is awesome and iconic, and I don't know. This is sort of a wait and see for me, really, at this point. So I'm just like, okay. We'll see how this turns out. Okay, if this is a whole Independence Day resurgence, Predators, and RoboCop situation, I'm gonna be furious yet again.
I still haven't seen. I didn't see Independence Day resurgence. I still haven't seen the RoboCop movies, and I'm not sure I want to, but. One of the things that stood out to me about this trailer, again, maybe this is just a trailer making things seem a certain way, and the movie could, of course, be different. But the vibe I got from the trailer is that it seems like they're going to be bringing the fight to Michael Myers. Like, I like the idea of people getting together to hunt him down instead of always running away from him. Like, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's the intriguing part for me. But that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, that's really the biggest thing that we got. And just another thing that I noticed too, do we finally get to see what he looks like without the mask? Because in the trailer you have, I think it's Judy Greer, it's been like, you want your mask back? Come and get, or, some bullshit like that.
Yeah.
So are we finally going to see what he looks like? And I want to get your take on that because
I hope not.
I remember when I reviewed the 2018 Halloween film on like a movie show that I did while I was in college. And my co-host basically said, like, he didn't want to see what Michael Myers looks like without the mask because there's like a whole sense of mystery behind it. I don't remember 100% what he said, but he basically said something along those lines. Do you ever want to see what he looks like without the mask?
No, I do not. Keep the mask on. Or at least if you do take the mask off, just don't even show him. Don't even show his face. Just keep it on that actress, and then maybe you can probably, again, film and edit around the aspect of he's getting his mask, he puts it back on, and now we see him, with his mask back on. But, like, to me, I think Michael Myers as a character in the Halloween franchise, I think what adds to him even more is the fact that he does have a mask. Nobody truly knows who and what he is. So I think they should really just keep that. If they show his face, I might get upset because it's like, come on, why would you're taking some of the magic away of what also why people like Michael Myers and likes Halloween as well, And so I'm hoping they don't show the face. I don't think they should. It's very similar to even Snake Eyes, in the comics and everything. You rarely see his face. There's a reason why he has a helmet on, and people like him because it's like you don't know what he looks like, but he's just a cool, badass ninja that we can get behind. And so it's with him, Michael Myers with the mask off. If anything, I don't show his face. You can take the mask off, but if you just don't show his face. That's just a personal thing for me.
It's really strange because, like, I definitely understand that argument for sure, but there's still a part of me that wants to see his face because I just feel like the mystery's been there for so long, and this kind of ties into one of the next points that I want to make. I feel like this has to be the last one. Like, how many times can he keep coming out of like ridiculous situations where he's supposed to die?
Actually, there's supposed to be another one.
Are you fucking serious?
No. Yeah, I think there's supposed to be another one after this one.
Son of a whore, damn it. All right, then, I guess, because I feel like whatever the last movie is, whichever one, that should be the one where we get to see what he looks like. Because I just feel like it'll be like closure, It'll be closure. The mystery will finally be solved and whatnot. It'll be closure. Like, whatever that last one is, if it's, this next one that's supposed to come out, the one after that, or like the 5 after that's supposed to come out, because again, that seems to be the trend nowadays. Whatever the last one is, that should be the one that we see what he looks like.
Yeah, Halloween Ends. That's the next one, supposedly.
Gotcha. Yeah, so it's the next one, but like whether or not it's the last one, I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah.
But yeah, this Halloween Kills is currently slated to come out on October 15th of this year. And again, what did you guys think of the trailer that was released? Are you actually pumped for this movie? Are you tired of like them making Halloween movies? Leave your thoughts in that comment section. And now, to cap off the show, a second trailer was released for the direct spiritual sequel, Candyman, it's the same title as like the original 1992 horror film where a murderous entity with a hook for a hand plagues the Chicago metro area. And they had a trailer for this movie last year, but then again, COVID happened. Everything got delayed indefinitely. And so I guess they threw out another one just to generate excitement again, because now this movie is finally set to come out on August 27th. But again, we'll see if that remains constant. Darius, what'd you think of this new trailer? Because I know you have a lot to say about this.
I'm honestly intrigued. I like Yahya. Oh my god, I can't pronounce his name. Abdul Mahdi. I like him as an actor. That's definitely a big reason as to why I want to see it. I don't recall seeing the original Candyman. I might have, but I don't recall it. So I definitely want to watch that one first before I watch this one. And straight up, just from this trailer, I watched it with my dad. We were both like, "Oh my gosh!" Like there's definitely certain elements that made me like, "Oh, okay, you know what? I kind of want to see this now." Because at first I was when I first heard about it, I was like, "Okay, cool. I may see it." But then the trailer came out, and I'm like, "Whoa, this is freaky and creepy and gory and." To the level of just uneasiness that I really like, and so I'm interested in seeing this movie for sure. And of course, Jordan Peele's attached to it, so I gotta support him. So
yeah, no, I'm really excited for this. I've been waiting. I was excited for this last year, and I did watch the original film, and the original film is definitely it's good. It's actually pretty solid. You should definitely check it out. But just how this one looks, like even when you had that trailer last year, that what was the song that they were singing or something like that, like say my name, because of course Candyman, you have to say the name how many times in order to summon him, but between that and now this trailer too, like I'm blown away. Like I'm so freaking pumped for this movie. It looks absolutely amazing. And one of the things that I know is, of course, with the 1992 film, like obviously it came out in the 90s, the special effects are probably a bit more dated by today's standards, but it was still scary. Whereas this one definitely has more modern effects to it, so it'll probably be terrifying. And one of the things, too, is that I feel like it'll expand on like the Candyman mythology from the original film. So I want to see exactly the directions that they take when it comes to that.
Yeah, again, and considering that there's two directors on this film too, I'm curious as to how, how balanced it is between these two visionaries. And I know one of the directors is also doing the upcoming Captain Marvel sequel, so it'll be interesting to see, this film from her, from her directorial standpoint and point of view, because right now, like,
who are the two directors?
Yeah, Nia da Costa is one of them, and the other one is who is the other one?
Because like I'm on IMDb and it just says director Nia da Costa.
Oh, it was just her? Okay, so you know what? It might have been just her. Maybe there were two or whatever. I know Bernard Rose was, I guess, supposed to be on it because I literally just looked it up. So, but
either the original.
The original. Got it. Okay, so Nia da Costa. So I'm intrigued to see what she does with this franchise, and because it kind of is now almost becoming a franchise, considering they're making a sequel. So I'm intrigued and interested to see.
Wait, what? They're making a sequel to this one?
I'm saying Candyman because it's a sequel. I'm like thinking they might be doing a franchise.
I thought you meant like they're already making a sequel. No, you're good. I thought you meant they're already making a sequel to this one. I'm like, wait, no.
No, but like because I'm just seeing it as like if it's a sequel, then there's potential of possibly a franchise becoming of it. So we'll have to wait and see for that. But like I said, I'm interested. I'm curious, and I'm curious to see what she does with this movie, directorial wise, and I'm pretty excited. So,
yeah, same here. I'm my confidence in this movie is through the roof. This is one, going back to the point of sequels. This is like it because we're getting a lot of sequels that like come out decades later after the original that like no one really asked or like was expecting to happen. This is one of those sequels that I'm actually really looking forward to.
Yeah.
So again, like I said, my confidence in this movie is through the roof. I can't wait till August. Like that I'm seeing ASAP.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited to see this. So we'll have to wait and see to see how good it is, really.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see if it's worth the hype. We'll see if it's worth the wait.
Exactly.
And again, just for all you guys and gals that are still listening, do you think that how do you feel about Candyman so far? Like, do you think it's going to be worth the hype? Do you think it's going to be worth like, the ongoing delays that have happened because of COVID-19? What do you think of this trailer overall? Leave your thoughts in that comment section. And just like that, episode 21 is done. Don't forget to like, follow, share, subscribe, and hit the bell to get all notifications, whether you're on Google Podcasts, Listen Notes, the Podcast Index, Stitcher, and more. And those social media pages and those profiles that are in the description, they're there for a reason. They're there for you to follow. And just in terms of like next week's episode, we're going to be reviewing America the Motion Picture, which is on Netflix, goes on Netflix June 30th. And we're also going to be reviewing The Tomorrow War, which is starring Chris Pratt and goes on Amazon Prime July 2nd. So we have that to look forward to. And just like that, there's been another episode of Cinema Unchained.
Peace.